to it, honey.
Oh, hello everybody. Good morning. Good morning. If you're in the Philippines, it is Monday morning. Oh, wait, only one more day to go before you have to send your kids off to school. Anyway, I was just thinking about that. What you must be going through trying to get everything ready, getting all the supplies and all the things that you need. Thank you, 4 million people in the house, for being here. I was almost late for work. I had to run over here real fast. I was in the shower. I was trying to get shaved, and I didn't want you to smell my stinky breath, so I had to brush my teeth. Hey, by the way, speaking of showering and shaving as a retired person, and so I've thought about this a lot. Before we get into today's topic, um, Rich Dan, Poor Dan, I want to talk. I want to talk, and really, I can't even remember how I decided I was going to talk about that, but I'll figure it out by the time it's we get down to the nuts and bolts, right? You know how in the first part I just like to talk about anything, and so let me talk about anything that means nothing to nobody. But so one of the things that I thought about when I was getting ready to retire a year and a half ago or so was that how I didn't want to fall into the trap of not shaving and showering and keeping myself up during retirement because it's easy to do. It's easy to sleep in late and uh, set all that stuff aside. Things that you would do. Let's say if you were working a regular 9 to 5 job, the way that I was, right? And so although I'm not as meticulous as I used to be, like I bite my fingernails, I haven't grown them back. When I was at work, I was more aware that I shouldn't bite my fingernails in front of people, and I should let them grow and get them manicured and all that. Man, Minnie helped me with all that stuff. So anyway, I bit all my fingernails off. Was one of the first things that happened when I retired, right? Because I was very, very still, very nervous about making that retirement decision. I could still be working today if I wanted to. There really wasn't a reason for the retirement. My job was not in jeopardy. The job was easy. I knew it very well. The things were changing. And so I could have stayed there forever. And had I stayed there, the contract that we had just negotiated at the time that I left, the new union contract, would have allowed for somewhere between a 10 and a 12% increase in wages. And so that by the time I retired, let's say that I delayed it for 3 more years. Let's say I would have been, 68, 60, cresting on 69 years of age. I would have ended up it would have had an effect or an impact on my pension. I would have gotten a lot more money. I would have had a lot more years of service, 25. The retirement pension is based on the last 3 years of your working life. And so they would have averaged all that out. It would have resulted in an increase in my retirement and my pension. I'm not saying it would have resulted in a 10% increase. It probably would have resulted in a 2 or 3 or maybe even 4% increase. I'm not sure how the whole thing works. Maybe three is close to what it would have actually been. So I would have ended up with a little bit more money because I had uh, more years of service in, and then I would have ended up with 3%, maybe 3.5%. Anyway, setting that aside, I started off talking about keeping yourself up. And so what I discovered is that it's not really necessary to be so meticulous about certain things, but you certainly don't want to let yourself go in retirement. And you get out there and you decide you don't want to shave one day or trim the mustache or pull the ear and the nose hairs out. because you're not reporting to work every day. So I started thinking about people telling me, Dan, you know that cleanliness is next to godliness and blah, 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 blah. And even though I don't make that association, I started thinking about it because everybody started suggesting it to me that, hey, taking care of yourself is being respectful to your maker, and that brings you closer to your maker. And so you should always be sure that you take care of yourself, right? And so it's worked out okay. I still, many of you would be surprised to learn that I still get up early in the morning. I still get up as though I'm going to work. This is a year and a half later. I don't know if you guys that are retired have gone through this. Let me bring up the chat. Let me bring up the chat to see what's going on. Who's here? Anna May Reyes is here. Genzel, Jean Gad has stepped in. Mike married to a beautiful woman. I hope Dan is rich today. Yeah, no, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in some interesting YouTube videos that I watch in preparation for this live stream. I don't think you're going to be surprised because you guys here, you all know me so well, right? Jalen's here. Jalen, uh, Sekbuchi, Charmaine, thank you so much for putting up with me. Good morning. Good morning to you. And Mamini is watching from the other room, I'm sure, on her phone. Girly Sen is here. Abby, hi. Oh, Abby, I wanted to get back with you. Okay. Daisy Lynn is here. Daisy Lynn, I checked in last night with Daisy Lynn, make sure everything was going okay. She's kind of like a daughter to me. I don't know why. I don't know why I think of Daisy Lynn that way, but I do. And so, uh, let's see. Oh, Abby. Okay, Abby, let me explain. So the number two and this, right? Right. This is really an inside discussion here. I apologize to everybody in the chat. Okay, so in class when we were students, right? We used to have to put up a number one or a number two when we had to use the restroom so that the instructor would know, if it's number one, you could hold it for a little bit longer. Number one was you had to go pee, right? Number two was the other thing, number two was this. And so what happened is we used to have to either, it was silly, right? But we used to have to go, teacher, get the teacher's attention, go like this or go like that, right? And the teacher would say, oh, you ain't doing that in my room. Get out of here. We don't want to smell your farts. Get the hell out. So what ended up happening was, but if you had to go number one, the teacher would keep you a little bit longer if, they were making an important point, especially algebra teachers. You know how weird they can be. They're not like the rest of us. So anyway, so yesterday when you said pull my number, what is my number, and someone put up a number two, I started thinking about that. I was reverting back to my youth. I'm in my second childhood, and so I want to explain how this emoji ended up in the chat. Dan, why did you put the poop emoji in the chat? And that's the explanation for that. Edward is here. Charmaine is here. Oh, Michelle Lazada is here. Larry Lee is in the house. All right. So, guys, I don't know what to do here. Princess is here. Princess Sarah is in the house. Moelma's here, who makes a fine omelet. Go in there and watch her short video of the omelet, the way she flips it, turns it. Yep, it's a must see. And Pretty Boy Dan, yes, indeed, that is how I characterize myself. Thank you for sharing it out, Daisy Lynn. Crystal's Adventure is here. Crystal's. I ran into all you guys in somebody's chat last night. Was it Yenny's chat? Where did I run into you guys? Was it in Yenny's or was it in LV? LV. So I was floating around in the chats, kind of lurking, and then I chimed in, let everybody know I was there. And so I was in Yenny, and then I was also, I believe, in LV's. I stopped by to say, hey, yeah, and everybody was there. Rider Adventures here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for honoring me by showing up, Moama. Thanks for all the Moamas showing up in the chat today. I really appreciate it. Who's this? Reina Lynn Fuentes. Wait a minute. You're not one of the Fuentes sisters, though, are you? Because, see, I don't know if you know this, Ronald Lynn, but I'm related to Fuentes. My cousins are Fuentes. So we're all Filipino under the skin. I know most of you know that. We're all Filipino. We're all related in some kind of way. So the Fuentes they're my cousins from Santa Fe Springs, California. And Charmaine too is here, 15 million in the house. And we'll be stuffing the pig and we'll be pulling for a 200 peso winner today also. I'm married to a Filipino. Most won't kiss you if you are not shaved. Um, hmm. I have to think about that. I can't recall a time where I was not clean shaven and I was moving in for the smooch. So you might be right about that. You might be right. And generally speaking, they probably don't. Jerry, I call South Texas home, is here. Yeah, Texas is one of the, uh, what was it? Brownsville, Texas. Jerry is one of the least expensive places to live in the United States. But Brownsville, I'll tell you what, I went in, I started looking, I started getting curious when I saw that article, Jerry, and I went in, I started looking at what do apartments go for in Brownsville. You know, I think I went into apartment.com and they're very expensive considering nobody there makes much money. I mean, when you compare it to household income and then you have to spend, 50% of your money on rent, that's not any fun. So there's probably something that I'm missing. I don't know if you're anywhere near Brownsville, but you probably know where it's at. In any event, if you want to give some kind of a shout out about Brownsville, let me know what's going on. Tim Desiak is here. And Tim, what was I going to say? Tim, I think it was you crossed my mind for some reason. I'll recall it in a second. Yeah, in the off hours, I was thinking about you, but I'm going to try and figure out uh, the reason why. And of course, I saw Tobias this morning in Mike and Janet's live stream. They do a really good job. Janet is very cute. She's a very attractive, and you can also tell that she's a very, very intelligent young lady. It comes through on the chat. So anyway, they're probably still live right now. Charmaine too is here. Nicole is in the house. Always lovely to see. I always get excited when we see Nicole here. Nicole is living the dream. Most of us are living the dream. Yeah, we now have potty talk with Dan. If you're in the Philippines and you need to take a break for your morning constitution, or your morning prayers, then I understand that. What did I do? What did I say? What did I say? Edward D. Beck. It's evening in the States. You have nothing to worry about. Poop cookie, exactly. Yummy, yummy. That sounds very appetizing. Yeah, at Elvy's, that's where we were. We're at LV. LV. How could I forget? Because you kept reminding me of the LV chat. LV, LV, LV. Den. Just doesn't have the same ring to it, right? Den. All right. So anyway, all right. I saw two. So I have to talk about these YouTube videos. They are loosely related, if not directly related, to today's topic. You have to go, folks. Don't don't shoot the messenger. Please do not shoot the messenger. Right, Girly Senna. If you guys are here in the Philippines, you understand what's going on here. You live here. But are you truly sick of hearing other people, particularly Westerners, talk about how much money they have to spend in the Philippines? I'm curious about that because so in my case and other people that are in the chat, in our cases, we share the wealth, right? Sometimes you don't even have, we just randomly money shows up in your Gcash account. You know, you came up on the short list. You came up the short list, and so we send you off some money. Sometimes it's a promise I made to you. You know, I hear the voices in my head. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting thing. Dan, this is your God speaking to you. Send money to so and so. I realize that not everybody is in that position to be able to do that, and soon I may not be after reviewing my monthly budget. Ah, calm down. You'll always get something from me. It just may not be as much as was in the past. You know. So, for example, I've trimmed back my membership. You know, my memberships and YouTube channels. You know, doing that was a very, very difficult thing. But I have to, you know, compensate for the money that you know, the funds or the blessings I give on this, and I had to compensate for it. Manalo Liz is here. Abby hanging in with us. Larry, quite contrary. My girlfriend has no problem kissing me. She likes my facial hair. Party on, bro. Party on. You know, I don't believe in a hairless society. I don't even like looking at hairless cats. They make me nervous. Smash is here. Oh, smash. Smash it. Minio is here. Ah, Minio. One of the big winners the other day. AJ. Hey, Jay, Mixie, what do you say? What's it going to be today? Ah, my goodness gracious. All right, so let's move on a little bit. Okay, so now, all right. Uh, Facial hair is important to Western men for masculinity, especially if you have chicken lips like I do. 24 million people in the house. I have chicken lips, and so basically, if I didn't have the stash, you would be saying to me, Dan, um, your lips look like chicken lips. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing here in the Philippines. If you go around judging people by the size of their upper lip, that's my problem. And so I had to do LV, LV, LV. And so I had to compensate for the thin chicken lips by, you know, putting a little hair there. So how do you compensate for your thin upper lip? Do you go and get an injection? Do you go and get the shot? Huh? A little Botox cures most problems, takes care of the wrinkles. We're living in a Botox driven society anyway. No big deal, right? No big deal. Okay. All right. So I can see we have 21 million people in the house. And I hope Nicole and Stead are here. I hope that when we do the drawing, that it helps you out getting the remainder of those school supplies that you need for your kid. Justin Clyde, YouTuber, is in the house. Justin, I thought we were going to do a collab on in Bye Bye City Leyte. We have to get together and do that. But now we're on our way to Cebu in a couple of days. So, Yen Ernie. Good morning, Dan. Yen. So, Yen, you're going to be answering your question from last night. You're going to be number 121. But I can't get you into this drawing. You're going to have to be in the next one because I don't have a bingo debit. I got to go out and buy some more and get. I got to do this right to make sure that you get on one of these drawing tabs. See, one of these things that we're going to be pulling. They're in here. So I do apologize, but your number is going to be 121. And who else doesn't have a number? If you go on my community page, we posted up to 110, and then 111 Sek Bucci, 112 is Manolin, Trip and Jerix 113, Princess Sarah's 114, 115 is Amy, 160 John Ray. 117 is Rachel La Chica. God, I love that name. Chris Tyne is 118. Rona Assis is 119. Michelle Lozada is 120. And Yen, you are now 121. But you'll be in the next drawing. I'll get you into the next one. LV, LV, LV. Mr. Dan is Mr. Chickenhead, which would be a great, great name for a chicken restaurant here in the Philippines, but not anywhere else in the world. So you could open up a restaurant called Dan's Crispy Chicken Head, and it would go crazy in the Philippines. Unfortunately, the name itself would cause it from being successful in the United States. Elvis saying pick number 29. Ah, you figured out what your number was. Okay, all right, Ronald Lynn. Do you have a number, Ronald Lynn? I'm not sure. Chat. Go on that community page and check to see if you have a number. And if not, then I will put you on the list for the next drawing. Charmaine's here. Crystals, it's always an adventure with crystals. I'm sure that's what Mark would say. I don't know where I get this stuff. All right, so I'm going to give you I'm giving you a homework assignment. I want to give it to you early. Your homework assignment is go watch the guy. It's called let's see, the old Cano, right? The old Cano. Gotta know. You go watch the latest video from the old Cano, right? Let me see if I could put it here in the chat. Someone, if you have a link, can you put it in there for me? I think he does it like this. Old Cano. Can someone find the link and then paste it in there? The old Cano. And so you go grab the link to his last video if you can, someone in here, and then go ahead and put that inside the chat so that people can find it easily. And the other one is I'd like for you to take a look at Steve's channel, the Philippine Information Channel. You know, because these two guys are telling it the way it is in the Philippines, right? And they're cresting on a subject. I think they're going a certain direction, right? They're getting everybody set up to say something, and I'm not sure exactly what that message is. But they're afraid, and I think they're afraid because they're afraid of losing subscribers. And since I have no subscribers, I could speculate, Ramses, on the direction that they're going, right? And the speculation is this. They're saying if you're not already in the Philippines, don't bother coming, right? But I'll tell you what, Steve, he's a little bit more tentative than the other guy. Steve is a tiny bit more tentative than the other guy, the old Cano, right? Thank you, Elvie, for doing that for me. Go in there and watch that video. And there's some stuff that, man, the way he presents it, I just kind of go, that's me. And no wonder nobody watches my channel. but his harsh characterization, he does it the same way, but he's getting 1,000 views or 1.5K views per video. So basically he's saying, folks, he's basically saying both of them, they're basically saying there are other places to consider other than the Philippines. So you have to go down the list as to the reason why you want to come here, right? Why is it that you want to come here? And so I would say that if you're single and you don't have any intention of getting married and hooking up, starting a family like a lot of guys do, you're going to be okay on that $1,000 a month. But things are changing so fast here, and he points out, the old Cano points out, that he keeps getting messages from Filipinos that are living in the States saying, I can't take it anymore. I can't take listening to this crap anymore. The lies that are floating around YouTube. Uh, Tim is saying if more foreigners come to the Philippines, price will go up for everything. Well, guess what, Tim? More foreigners are coming to the Philippines. So, do you want them here? That's the question I have for you. Do you want them here or not? Knowing that that's going to happen. So Steve mentioned it. Steve said, "Hey, Mark is here. Mark, how's it going, bro? How's it going?" Uh, all right. So you tell me. Are you worried about it, Tim? Are you worried about the prices of Hershey bars and Lay's potato chips increasing to the point where you can only buy once a month that Hershey bar? Minnie Snow's here. Hi, Minnie Snow. Happy Monday morning. Yeah. So now, do I agree with them? If that's the direction they're going, well, I will put it to you this way: it's starting to worry even me. It's starting to worry me a little bit because I've explained my budget in videos and past videos on the live, and I'm comfortable at right around 25% or 30% of my monthly income. If I start going over that, I start to panic a little bit, and I'm not sure exactly why. I think there's no reason for me to be panicking if I'm dedicating 30% of my monthly income for living in the Philippines, but I am. And so that's something probably about the way that I was raised, or it has something to do with uh, my experience in the United States. Bobbing and weaving, trying to figure out how to move money around. If less people visit the Philippines, less money from tourism. Yeah, and that's a problem. So would the answer be, Mike? You know, come here to visit, but don't stay. I mean, would that be the answer? Because obviously we need tourism. It's one of the key. It's one of the key figures for Philippines gross domestic product. They want to increase tourism, and they also want to increase people living here. So. Oh, Ronald is new. Ronald, you want a number? You can be number 122. So the next drawing that we have for free money, you'll be in it. Number 122, Ronaldin Fuentes. Yeah, like I said, Fuentes are my cousins. They're my relatives. Nipan is here. Nipan, you sent me an interesting article. I have more research to do, apparently. Uh, it was in relationship to the gross domestic product, but let me ask you this, Nipan. If you're listening, I don't know if you're in the BJ, if you're climbing a mountain, if you're climbing Mount Fujiyama or Mount Everest or whatever you're doing. Um, Nipan, let me ask you a question. But are you comfortable with the idea that they're trying to create, that they're trying to make the borders disappear? And so that's the reason why you have uh, you have the BRICS forming or formulating. It's really to conduct financial transaction without borders. In other words, and so the United States would be complacent in this idea. They would have to agree, yeah, we're a player. Now, do you agree or disagree? So all this stuff on the internet about the gloom and doom of society and the collapsing of the dollar is nonsense from my perspective. If you believe that all the stuff is, yeah, but Tobias, that the Boston Hamilton project is just a all it is a collaboration for liberals to get together and put their ideas out there based on stats about the direction that the global economy should be going. Now, if I have a misunderstanding about what the Hamilton Project is all about, then cue me in on your take on it, right? It's convincing people in a way. I mean, I can't come to just a single conclusion about it, but if you would, yeah, if you were to, if you were to read between the lines on the Hamilton Project in phase one, you're saying, then would you not conclude that they're trying to convince you that equity is achieved through one of the ways would be through distribution of universal income. I'm just posing it as a question. I mean, that's a thought that comes to my mind right away. In other words, that they support allocating money, digital money, to folks in order to obtain equity. I mean, so how would you do it? Um, how would you do it, Tobias? How would you lay it out so that we could obtain economic equity in the United States or the world, for that matter? Um, I'm curious to learn how you might be, you know, what you might be thinking about it. Des is here. Good morning, Des. How are you? Happy Monday morning. Hi. Anyway, on with it. Of course, the the rich Dan, poor Dan was, of course, I was stealing it from the rich, the rich dad, poor dad by Robert Kawasaki and Sharon Lechter, which is a book that came out in 1997 and focused on the importance of financial literacy from an early age. Something they don't do and they won't do is, let's see, what does Mike say? Oh, pause. The world will not change. There will not be a world banking system with no paper money. That's right. I believe that with all my heart. There are billions of people who don't have digital footprints. Exactly. And so there's always going to be uh, a paper money system. Yeah. And so the thing is, but when you need to do a transaction, let's say you have paper money, you need to do a transaction where you're transferring money from point A to point B, and you don't want to use an intermediary, then the way they will do that has already been explained, right? And that way is you go to the bank, they will give you a digital code, assign it to your money. In other words, they'll enter it into the blockchain for you. So basically, that paper money that you have in your hand disappears forever. It never will be reproduced. In other words, they won't reproduce it. They will take the money, convert it to digital currency, and the money will be gone from the face of the planet. That particular money forever. Good morning, Kuya Mike. Mike married to a beautiful woman. Tim Dizak says, what is the average monthly income for expats in the Philippines? Well, that's an excellent question. And I don't have an answer. You don't want me to lie. I could guess till the cows come home. I could guess until the carabao comes home, but I probably would be off by several hundreds of dollars. So I don't know. Why don't you Google it and you tell us? And so let's talk about this. Financial literacy is important, but they still don't teach you how to balance your checkbook in school, which is what they should be showing you that in the first grade, if not earlier. Folks should be showing their kids how they budget right as they emerge from the womb. That's what I feel about it. Throughout the book, uh, uh, Robert talks about and explains how a person can increase their wealth by investing in assets and being smart with money. So he talks a lot about needs versus wants. So I have been convinced that some kind of way, I've been convinced through chats, video chats, by reading and other processes that you need to have. Uh, yeah, they no longer do. They don't want you to be that. They don't want you to be in tune with that because digital money is going to work a little bit differently. But I figured this that the reason why I drew this picture is something is about ready to change in my life. I've been trying to discuss this with many, the importance of taking money and then putting it into uh, hard assets. And I happen to like property over gold, definitely. Silver, I have to think about. Universal income is cool with me. I think everyone should get 3,000 a month. Income equality is just a cover for the project. They control the money, they control the people. There goes privacy we had. Yeah, except for this. as Mike was pointing out, you can never do away 100% with the actual physical money. And that's simply because billions of dollars are transacted every day in the underground economy. See, that's the reason why it can happen in both legal and illegal adventures. And so they don't want the underground economy to go away. Mertz is here. Hi, Bob Mertz. How are you this morning? Someone asked me for food money. I told her that I would send 1,000 pesos as a gift. She asked me again. I said to her, and I said, send her to your channel. And she probably got nothing out of me. Right now, um, the wealth is in property. Right now, the wealth is in residential real estate. It doesn't really matter where you're at, whether you're in the United States or around the world. It's in the property that you own. Because if you can conquer that, in other words, if you can secure the property and build your home on that property any kind of way, even if it's borrowed land, but the person that you're borrowing it from, you feel secure with, they're not going to boot you out overnight. You have, you have, uh, you're like 50% ahead of everybody else. They will track everything you do and spend. Yeah, of course, right. And that worries you what kind of way? In other words, yeah, I understand that. I understand that they're data collecting and they want to manipulate you. You know, if they see you going to the 99-cent store buying Chinese plastic spatulas, well, then the Chinese will be bombarding you with ads. You know, we have a sale on plastic spatulas. You bought 3 this week. You eat them or you do something with them. They really don't care. They want you to continue to consume them. So my point is that what part of the monitoring system do you not like? You know, and what's the reason for it? I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like it or I like it. I'm just asking you, what is it that you don't like about it? You mean that you don't want to be seen going into the adult bookstore buying adult toys? I'm not sure exactly what the idea behind it is, or that you subscribe to a site that you know, where you could utilize cam girls. Mike Murray. Tobias, they have physical money in Sweden. Let's see. Tim is saying, I must be very poor. I don't own any property. Yeah, that's an interesting point that you're making, Tim. That's a valuable one because that actually is on the list to talk about. So it's a manipulation. So basically, when you go into, in my humble opinion, and you know the rules here, right? It's a manipulation of your thought process, of your subconscious, of your conscious mind. In the Philippines, I have 3 properties in the Philippines with my asawa. Yeah, property in the Philippines, it makes perfectly great sense to me, but property in other parts of the world does too, Mike. And so if you have 3 properties in the Philippines, that is kind of what I'm talking about. You know, they really cannot come. They can nationalize it if they decide to, but they would have a big problem on their hand if they try to do it, right? And so they most likely will not do it. I've said that the property owners become the new rich in this next economy. And so the thing is, before that happens, many people will be divested of their homes. And how will that happen? Through increased interest rates, for loss of employment, for divorce, when you're talking the United States, who's in love with divorce. And so all the disagreement with family members, you know, all this stuff is going to cost you big problem. The way to do it is by you have to do it. You have to live like a Filipino. I know it sounds strange, but even if you're in the United States, you have to live like a Filipino. This is something that I learned, right? So it's not, communal living is an accepted way of life in the Philippines, but if you go and you tell your relative that you're going to rent the rooms out in your house in order to generate income for yourself um, a fight, as a barrier against inflation, the first thing they're going to say is, "Are you crazy? You're going to let a stranger come into your house? Oh heavens, no! Heavens, no! Don't do that!" They're going to kill you. They're going to cut your throat in the middle of the night. But yet your wife most likely will cut your throat. She most likely will be the one to cut your throat in the middle of the night and then do a little bit more damage. See, in other words, it's an argument that's a false argument. It doesn't make any sense, you know. Yeah, you have to vet people that you're going to come in contact with and do business with. You have to vet them out very, very carefully. You know, I vetted people out that made sure they didn't have criminal records. You know, I vetted them out. You know, they can't. I would put in my Craigslist ad. You know, I put it right in there. Um, Depends. Des, let's talk about that in a moment. Property ownership. You know, are you renting? Do you rent from a relative? Do you lease the land long term? All right, so yeah, so I would vet them out. You know, tell them right in the Craigslist ad, I would tell them that, hey, criminal background check will be conducted. There's no discrimination in housing, except if you have a criminal record, you know, that will be reviewed separately. And once I put that in there, the folks with criminal records went away. See, they didn't even bother. They didn't even bother coming in and applying. And then I would do a credit check, and I had credit criteria. See, that's how you weed people out and make it safe. You talk to people who've done business with them. You have to trust your wife. She bought during COVID. People needed the cash. Trust your wife. She. I'm not sure what that means there. Let's see. Let's see what else. Property is a good investment at Mike Mayor Dubuque. Yeah, property always will be, as long as you pay cash for it. You see, that's the secret. You don't want to have a bank or anybody controlling you. Okay, check this. Let's say you have a gas car instead of an electric. They can charge gas, whatever. Yeah, yeah. So, Mike, here's what's going on, or Tobias, Michaels. This is what's going on in the Philippines, right? I mean, in America, USA, and it will be coming to the Philippines. Make no mistake about it. It may even be coming sooner than it actually takes place in California. But Tobias, what's happening in California is that I keep seeing the Tobias Michaels. I keep thinking to myself, Tobias, Toby, bruh, here's what's going on. I'm so confused. Uh, Here's what's going on. They're going to start charging per mile, and you have to have a little device. And now, how do I know this is coming? Because I was asked to be the guinea pig. So they sent me the mileage thing that works through RF, radio frequency. So you plug it into to your little port, your engine diagnostic port. And they paid me to do this, so you know I enjoyed the money. I enjoyed the money the state of California gave me to do this. I plugged the thing in, and they were tracking my mileage, my daily routine. So I mean that's pretty intrusive. So now they're using GPS. They know where I go every day when I travel. They know how many miles, and they're going to tax based on the miles traveled. And that's one of the reasons why I said that a subscription service is going to be a better way to go, because you're going to transfer liability to Grab, Uber, Lyft, or whatever that, or General Motors, because in the future, General Motors, Ford, and all those other people won't be selling cars. They will only be leasing them. You know, you won't be able to buy one. They'll become too expensive to be able to afford. You know, and they won't be selling them to you. You'll have to rent them. But so instead of doing that, you know, they're making it so it's too expensive to own a car. It'll be too expensive to own a car in California, but they're creating the alternative methods right now, and that is that you'll be able to take Grab, you'll be able to take a cab, you'll be able to to do these different things to get around. And quite frankly, I like it that way. And the reason why I like it that way is because I don't like the liability of driving. I just simply don't. It doesn't make any financial sense to me. You know, I mean, yeah, sure, you can buy insurance, and they're killing you on insurance once you reach a certain age. You know, once you tell them you're 70 and you want to keep driving, they go, we're not really interested in offering you up some insurance because we know you're going to crash your car. they, they're just, the idea behind the insurance company is not to pay out money; it's to make money by not paying it out. So one time my kid was in an accident, right? And they charge me, they charge it off on my driver's license. And I called them up and I said, hey, you guys are you're charging it off, on my, against the points on my driver's license. What are you guys doing? They said, we have to get the money back some kind of way, and the baby boomers are the one with the money. So we'll charge it. We'll charge it off with increased premiums on your car insurance. I said, no. I go, no, you have to charge my kid, not me. What is the matter with you people? I said, okay, I see what's going on here. You no longer want to insure me. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to start sourcing insurance through another channel. Right. And so basically I've always bought used cars. Um, I've never owned, only one time did I own a new one, and I wrecked it. This is how this whole idea formulated in my mind. So what ended up happening is from that day forward, I only bought used cars and I paid for them in cash. And then I only had to have the minimal amount of liability insurance. And of course, you tell people that and they just look at you like there's something wrong with you, you know? And I'm not saying they're not. Filipinos are starting to open new businesses. Yeah, but they'll be closed soon because the economy is starting to tank. And so you're going to see the result of it pretty quickly. Okay, one measure of Philippine economy tanking is that you have to look for the main street in the province or the city that you're in, and you have to keep an eye on the cell phone stores. When they start closing their doors, the little independent ones will close their doors first, followed by the big corporation ones, the big corporate ones that are backed by big money. That's how you're going to be able to tell that the worst is yet to come. That'll be the indicator. So let's talk about expats transferring money. Phil's deal in pesos, not only not digital. What you doing, bad boy, when they come for you, bad boy? Well, you know, uh, have you missed the live streams where I've talked about converting the dollars to cash as soon as possible? I'm talking about the moment you get it in your hand, and then you stash it because the Filipino peso is going to survive um, way, way beyond whatever may be happening with the dollar. And there are a lot of reasons for that. One, they're not a debtor nation. That's number one. 60%. It's a ratio. They're in the comfort zone, and they have plenty of dollar cash reserves. So you look at the country's cash reserves, and if they have enough to cover the national debt, or a good hunk of it, then you're in the safe zone. If they have enough money to go out there and buy dollars in order to keep in order they have enough money, enough dollars to go out on the forex and buy replacement pesos in order to hold up, the currency, then you're in good shape, and that's what they've been doing. But because you're well read, Tobias, that the Philippines already has formed a committee to roll out digital currency. You must know that, right? And so it's gonna hit here, but they're not talking about doing away with money. As a matter of fact, they came out with the polymer 1,000 peso, right? They came out with polymer because they want to be able to disinfect it. They're probably going to run it through a blue light. They'll probably have a blue light special on money. That's an old Kmart joke. You people in the Philippines probably wouldn't understand that. Anyway, I apologize in advance. Dan, I tripled my money in 2 years. Yeah, on land. Yeah, so I think Is it possible to keep doing the United States? Yeah, I would say it is. And the reason why I say it is because it's too difficult, especially on a single on a single residential home. You know, the banks are going to go crazy because people are going to be defaulting on single family homes. They don't want to devalue them. They'll keep them in their portfolio for as long as they can. But I can tell you that high interest rates will impact it. So if if you already own a home, you're probably you're going to become the new rich, no matter where you are in the world. You know, this is going to become the premier asset. It's going to be more valuable than gold. And so they're going to try before that to transfer the wealth away from you. You know, it'll be a headache, you know, just a little bit different than happened in 2008. You know, 2008, people were so fast to go to the bank and hand them their keys. You know, I mean, I have a friend who wasn't even in default on his mortgage, and he went to the bank and handed them his keys and told the bank, "We have moved out. I'm no longer servicing the mortgage." That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. And then a few years later, guess what happened? The same house that he abandoned quadrupled in value. You know, it just went. Doo, 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 doo. Of course, you can't remind him of that incident. You can't remind anyone, especially in California, that they went and they voluntarily handed their keys in. You know, because the banks made hella money. It was one of the largest transference of wealth in the entire world that happened in California. Toronto, there are highways that use a transponder and they will send you a bill to use. Yes. And in California, they're being installed and nobody even knows it. So, Mike, here's what's going on in California, right? They're putting in sensors so that if you run over the sensor on one part of the freeway and then you roll over the opposing sensor after you've done your test miles, right? So let's say you hit the sensor here and then 2 miles down the road you hit the next one. They will send you a ticket for speeding. So they're getting ready to gear up any way that they possibly can in order to increase tax revenue because the tax base is shrinking. There's not enough tax money coming in to support all the programs, all the social programs they have going on. And so they have to do it through increased tax revenue. And they're going to be doing it by pretty much taxing you out of your car. As I pointed out, less people will be buying gas, less people will be owning their own cars, and fewer people will be taking them down the freeway once they find out that California has this new way of sending you a speeding ticket in the mail. And they don't care who's driving the car. They're going to take a picture of the license plate. They'll take a picture of the driver. They'll send it to you and say, "Hey, on this day and time, you were caught doing 95 miles down the freeway." Right? And then highway patrol officers are going away. They have electronic devices in brand new cars that automatically shut it down. What fun is that? No more car pursuits. If I wanted to become a highway patrol officer, one of the allures was I get to chase people down the freeway code 3. Why would I want to go be a highway patrol officer now if I don't get a race down the freeway at 110 miles an hour? What's the fun in that? With lights and sirens blaring. Get the hell out of my way. Law enforcement is coming, bozo. I'm chasing this dude over here. I get to do a pit maneuver and crash him. My thoughts only, folks. Do not talk like this at home. G-Man is everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. Haven't you ever seen people come out of the woodwork like what happened at the bar in over there in El Toro near the Marine base there, Trabuco Canyon Road? I mean, doesn't that tell you anything? I mean, guys responded driving Volkswagen vans for crying out loud, coming out with AK-47s, returning fire. I mean, guys, they're everywhere. You don't know where the police. You don't know where the police are or what they look like. They're you or me. They're everybody. And so that should be an example. These guys come out These law enforcement officers come out with their badges and they're carrying AK-47s. Guy gets out of a Volkswagen bus. I mean, it's crazy. Guys driving motorcycles to the spaghetti night, and they stop and they take off their biker vest and they put on their protective gear. Come on, guys. Mike Tobias is right. Tobias Michaels is right. That's reality. So I missed something good there, right? That Mike and Larry were talking about. We're losing our privacy every day more and more because of online social media. Yeah, and of course. And that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. One of the things I wanted to talk about is that one of the things I wanted to talk about was that do not depend on social media to make income. Do not. It can be one of your income streams, but it's going away. You guys have to. Can you not see the writing on the wall? They're doing away with it. They're doing away with it. It's happening slowly but surely, but the plan is in place. You're monetized. Who's going to be advertising? Who's going to be advertising on YouTube? The people that generate the revenue. That's the biggest revenue generator. No, they're taking a percentage from you. You're the creator. It's the greatest thing right now since sliced bread. But how does YouTube and Facebook make money and all the rest of them if all of a sudden people stop buying at the 99-cent store? They stop going to Landers, S&R, Costco, Walmart, and they stop advertising on YouTube. Where's your money coming from? I could already tell you that there's a revenue drop. You guys got to do some reading. There's a huge revenue drop. And it should be starting to rise again because people are going out there and they're buying stuff for Christmas, but they're not. They're not. They don't have any money. They've burned up their credit cards. They've hit their maximum on their credit. If you're a debt consumer society like the United States makes the whole world go around. If you reach your credit limit and you go to the bank and they say this, sorry, Dan, we cannot raise your credit limit. Then you're screwed because we are paying debt by accumulating more debt. It's the craziest system in the entire universe. The way that we consume is through debt. So in the United States, we're not talking Philippines here. I'm just trying to educate people on how this works. Right? How it works is if you're not in debt in the United States, right, you ain't doing something right. That's how we roll. And so in other words, we just go get another credit card and do a zero transfer balance. That's the greatest trick. And then we don't pay it off in the allocated time that they allow us. And they go back and they charge us interest from day one. Oh, didn't we tell you signed the paperwork that you're paying 24% interest on the loan? It's like going to the guy on the street corner saying, hey, I got some money I could loan you. You might as well go and yeah, and see your local never mind. Dan, owning your car for cash is a smart. Yeah, that's the only way to do it. By the way, Crystals and Mark, that's the way they do it. And it's a beautiful running car. I rode in it. I thought, oh, this couple, they're very impressive. I do believe I told them so. Very impressive. Because if you're doing that and you're living in the Philippines, you're like 5 or 10 steps ahead of everybody else. In other words, they got to bow down to you if they see you coming down the street, because here everybody's driving brand new, what is it, Mitsubishi SUVs that cost $40,000 and $50,000, or Toyota that cost $80,000 or $100,000. They're flaunting their wealth. They're flaunting it in your face, but are they wealthy? Are they writing that $1,000 car payment every month? I say it's the latter. It's keeping them from wealth. It's keeping them from being wealthy. Tobias is saying yes, and I agree with you that that's the way to do it. Cash it in the pesos immediately. It's called cash and stash, right? We just invented it. So listen, I'm not asking you to consult with me. I'm not charging anybody $50 an hour for a 1 hour consult. I'm giving it to you for free on this channel. Filipino Raquel's in the house. I'm just seeing you. I know I'm behind in the chat as usual. I'm using the internet instead of my phone. The lending money in the U.S. costs more than the new bills, and the new bills are going to be chipped. Yeah, yeah. It's a no-win situation, there. Tobias saying, yes, I read everything about new money in the Philippines. U.S. dollar will not be around. It will be digital. They can control the economy with digital money. Yeah. And quite frankly, I don't have a beef with it. I don't have a beef with it, really. I will color between the lines. All I have to do really is tell me what I need to do. I only have 12 years or 50. I wish I could sit here and tell you guys that I will live forever, but I won't. On the outside, I've got 15 years of life left, and so I want to live that 15 years just like everybody else with a smile on my face. A smile on my face and a good woman on my lap. That's all I'm asking for. To each his own, right? To each his own. You figure out how to take advantage of the situation. Figure out how to make it work for you. How will it work for you? I've I'm being consistent. I've told you guys that a better place to be is to spend the money as fast as you get it. Just like because Filipinos do it because they need to. They get every dollar they get, every peso they get, they have to spend it on food, school supplies, supporting their families, rent, all these things, right? And so you're in good shape. Do not go and sign up for home credit for something that you desire but you don't need, that you can't eat it. You see, number one is if you can't eat it, then you probably shouldn't be buying it. What? You're saying that electronics are very tasty? What? Oh, the food channel. Watching the food channel is going to help you save on your monthly food budget. Okay. Millions of people in the U.S. don't have banks or credit cards, and that has created a secondary market. That is what's created Chime and all these other people to make so much money on those fees, those transfer fees. Tobias saying, I got one Chicktown pic of my mug and one of my plates had me nailed. I didn't even see the camera. Yeah, yeah, yep. The photo reader has been removed because of human rights. Oh, in Canada? In Canada, well, we don't have anything like that in the United States. We don't have human rights there. Dan just wants to chase a white Ford Bronco. Yeah, listen, slow speed chases aren't exciting. They're not quite that exciting. Good morning, Beth. How are you? Uh, Project Hamilton will divide Americans even more. Well, that's how you conquer, right? Divide and conquer. Do you ever think about the whole? No, I better not talk about that. I mean, divide and conquer is going on right now in this election cycle. You guys aren't seeing what's going on. I can't help you. I cannot help you. That's the way it's done. That is the way we do. That's as American as apple pie. Oh, I love doing stuff. That's as American as all beef hot dogs. Oh, Mike is Tobias. The political arena in the U.S. is destroying democracy. The rich are buying the U.S. $1 at a time. Yeah, but it's not. It's global, Mike. See, that's all you're whining all the time to say the U.S. It's global. It's happening the same way all around the world. That's what BRICS is all about. It's about gaining equity, with against the United States, not against it, to work with it in the drama. In other words, it can't be done unless everybody is on the same page. And so now I take a look at, it's not them versus us, it's them. It's just them formulating the plan and putting it together. It's not the US is what I mean versus everybody else, the rest of the world, right? It's everybody is in collusion with each other to make it happen. So, okay, so Tim, YouTube can put commercials on anyone's video and not pay the creator, right? And that's what they'll do when the money gets thin, and it's happening right now. They'll change the rate again. They'll say, hey, and you'll have people quit. They'll just say, hey, I'm not doing this no more. It isn't worth it. Well, if you're only getting 4 or 5K views, you're getting $2 to $5 per thousand. That's what the rate is right now. It's depending on your demographic, right? So let's say my demographic would be in the middle. So let's say I'm getting $2.50 per thousand. If I were lucky enough to get 1,000 views in a video, which I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm talking about out of the gate. Then that's $2.50. And so right now, you figure out what's going on by observing what YouTube creators are doing right now, right? What are they doing? They're abandoning YouTube for Facebook. Yay, it's the promised land. Folks, it isn't. I'm letting you know it is not. YouTube and Facebook, the monetization part of it is going away. I could see it. It's as clear as that. For me, it's as clear as that the day is long. I mean, look at YouTube creators already panicking. The guys that were putting up one YouTube video a week are now putting up 3. They're putting up 4. They're burying everybody in shorts, right? No, not those kind of shorts. So I mean, if you've set yourself up for getting hammered if you're depending on YouTube to deliver your income. That's the thing that the Kano, the old Kano is talking about, right? He doesn't put it in a way that's a very friendly way, but neither do I at times. And so it kind of bugged me, it kind of bugged me in a way. Now, when you upset Dan with the way you're talking, you've done something. But he's getting 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 views for video, and Dan is not. What can I do? What can I do? Average vehicle in the Philippines is 1 million pesos. Yeah. Bicycle works as long as they money well spent if you create a bike lane. Of course, if you create a bike lane in the Philippines, people will just ignore it. I only pay cash for cars and not more than 5K for it. So you do liability. That's what I do. And so I just do liability insurance. If I run into a tree, if I crash it into a telephone pole, who cares? You go out and buy another car. Hopefully you're not killed in the accident. That's right. That's the way it should be. No debt. Debt is your enemy. Debt is your enemy. Mike says, okay, braggart. Mike says, I will live 38 more years. I thought Dan was the one with the crystal ball, but Mike has one too. Chris says, we have to work hard to provide for kids they need and not deprive them from anything. As long as you have a course, you still have the power to do it. Okay. And yeah, you're in charge here, Alexander Haig. Dan, I just want a quiet life with good friends. Yeah, the whole good friend things. Listen, I want the good friends to be the ones that call me up like today and say, Dan, you want to come over to the country club and have lunch with us? Sure. Those are the kind of friends that I want. See, you ever know, this is the point. You ever notice, Larry, that that a caddy, they start off as a caddy at the country club, and the next time you see them 10 years later, they're the one driving in the Benz to the country club with their caddy. And then 10 years later, that caddy is driving around in a Mercedes Benz. How does that happen? Yeah, so I want to talk about this good friends thing. That's where this idea came from. So Larry is bringing me back on track. It's not a critique. This isn't a critique, so I don't want anybody thinking that I'm critiquing the value of friendship. I'm not. The friends are the ones that are going to bring you through the hard times, right? So the friends, especially if you have uh, things in common. So you'll notice that rich people hang around with each other, middle class people hang around with each other, and poor people hang around with each other. And each one of those social status have benefits, and all of them have downsides. In other words, you can't just say, "Oh, all my friends are poor, and so I shouldn't be hanging around with them," because each one of those social conditions has both its benefits, its rewards, and the other. See, tracking what I spend my money on is not cool with me. Okay, so I don't know I don't know how you. They already do it. They already do it, and that's not an excuse for trying to prevent them from doing it using a different methodology. For example, how should I say this to you, Tobias? I get stopped in Las Vegas, right? After I go through security. It was years ago. I was headed to Caesar's Palace to gamble a whole bunch of money away. I think I had $70,000 with me in my briefcase in cash. So I put the briefcase through. This is the money that I could afford to lose, right? I just had cut a big deal, and I was celebrating by going and just squandering this cash. So I go through the security thing, right? I had to put my briefcase on the line, and I get a smirk from the security dude, right? Who's viewing the X-ray machine. I get a smirk, and it was one of like, I'm happy for you. You're carrying a lot of cash. But before I hit the door at McCarran Field, this is when it was called McCarran. I don't know what it's called now. Before I hit the door, person's walking up to me with their badge, right? Saying customs enforcement. Right? So it's customs, and they want to know, they want to see the money, right? And they want to know where I got the money. So how did they do that? How did they know? How did they know how much money I was carrying? See, and so there's a magnetic strip inside the $100 bills, and so they were counting. See, the machine counts the money. It says he has approximately $70,000 in his briefcase. Customs enforcement wants me to show the withdrawal from the bank, right? And then I have to go to the little interview room, and I tell the guy right away, you're holding me back from losing all my money at Caesar's Palace. You got to let me go. And I was laughing at him. You know me. I've never changed. I'm the same person now that I was the day I was born. You know, in the Philippines, they're giving debit cards to all people in the Philippines so they can give money. They can give money for pensions to less fraud. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I explained how one of the reasons for getting Minnie for reclaiming her Philippine citizenship is so we can start making the contributions that are necessary for her to qualify for retirement benefit when she turns age 60. And those things are being issued now in a debit card, like a credit card thing. Yeah, I feel sorry for them too, but thank God I won't be around to see how it all turns out. You'll have to tell me about it on the other side. 2 cents per thousand views. Yeah, in other words, it just keeps declining. And then look at regular guy, folks. Let's talk about a couple people, right? Let's talk. I've talked about Steve's channel. It's important to go watch his last video. If you want to put a link up there for me, that'd be great. I told you about the old Cano. Very important that you go in there and you watch his video. But folks, I don't watch regular guy anymore. But if you want to, go in and see his last video. Someone told me he's back in Angeles City and he's making his way to Manila. When before he said he'd never return back to Angeles City. You tell me why. Why would he be doing that? It's because the majority of his views came from when he was doing live streaming and video from Walking Street. That's the reason why. And he be needing money, right? And why does he need money? So put it together. 1+1 = 2. Always has, always will. Read between the lines. Why do you think they were talking mask in? Economy is down and needs a fix. Maybe a reset with another lockdown. Yeah. I mean, of course it worked the first time around. Why wouldn't it work the second time around? But I think they already know that they're going to get pushback this time around. And so Mike, I kind of side with Mike. And that is that there will not be another lockdown. No, but they're locking down your mind, Mike. They're locking down your mind. They're taking control of your mind right now in that way. In other words, everybody's talking about it. And so do you not think that that was the intended strategy to get everybody to talk about it? Don't look at the man over here. Don't look at the man. There's no man behind the curtain. Just me. Bleezy is here. See what I'm saying? There's no. Don't look at this guy working the controls behind the curtain. Let's get the whole world talking about another lockdown. That'll get them going. Don't listen to me. I'm just one big disclaimer. Don't talk about this at home, kids. That's right. I recommend that you keep it on the DL. But just don't be surprised when all this happens. If you crash into a telephone pole, it's going to cost. Poles are expensive. Yeah, I wish they would figure out a way to do. They need to move all the poles underground. A friend of mine, I think, ended up paying something like $20K when he got that DUI conviction, and he cut the telephone pole in half. And what's so interesting about the whole thing? I said, you need to challenge that because they didn't replace the whole pole. He goes, what? I said, I was watching. I just happened to be driving by, and they have this sleeve now that they put around it, and they splice the poles together. They don't even climb it and do anything with the wires. The wires didn't come crashing down. They were still attached to the things. What do they call those things? They were still up there. He cut it here, it broke around midway, and they come by with a chainsaw in about 15 minutes. They go like this. Zzz, zzz, and the next thing I know, I see this crane, regular truck with a little, what do they call those cranes? Those mini crane things. Came over, they lift the pole up, they put this metal sleeve under it, right, encapsulate it, put it down on the other section, did whatever they needed to do to bolt it together to make sure it's stuck, and then they drove away. It took all of like 15 minutes. It was very, very impressive. The technology we have today. For those who don't know, Hamilton was from the back of the George Washington days, yeah. But there's a lot of other stuff going on that would freak you out. Just go to the Kinney School of Government at Harvard University and see what they're working on. That will scare the crap out of you. I mean, quite frankly, the people that will have the prevailing wages when the smoke clears, they're all government workers. So why would I go against, right? Why would I go against the government if I'm a government worker and they're paying me a prevailing wage? The amount of money this is why I'm worried a lot. I was telling Minnie, this is really the reason why we only have enough cash really to go. Let's say that everything stops. No more Social Security, no more pension. They say, damn, we don't like you. You're a whatever it is, right? You're sharing stories with people. We're going to cut you off your pension. They pass a new law. It says if you talk this way, we will not pay your pension. You live overseas for longer than 6 months. I think it's the exchange rate is somewhere in the middle when I looked at it. I think it's like the exchange rate is 56.70. I think it's underneath that, quite frankly. So if they cut everything off, then I would barely make it without a lifestyle change. Man, Minnie would be screwed, but I would barely make it, to the end of my life if I only live another 15 years. So I have enough cash hanging around. If I can get it here, right, which I'm working on, I have enough cash that I could probably survive another 15 years without, if things came to a screeching halt today, and I wouldn't have to change my lifestyle or anything. I could just live on the cash that we got. See, The whole thing is that the great equalizer is the home that you live in. That's the point. And it doesn't matter whether you live in the Philippines or you live in the United States or anywhere else in the world. And we're talking a paid for house. We're not talking where you're servicing a mortgage. We're talking about where you have the house covered, and the only thing that you have to worry about is to pay the electricity, the water bill, the cable, and the internet. You know, those things that keep you in contact with everybody else in the world. That's if you just had to service that debt, and that's what we have created here. What Man Mini was able to do is do something that Filipinos are trained to do when they're very, very small, you know, and that is that the, understand that the key, the most important thing to your survival is house and lot. House and lot, wah. House and lot, wah. House and lot, wah. House and lot, wah. So whenever you're sitting down at the dinner table in the Philippines with your children, don't tell me that you don't have this discussion with them. I know you do. You're constantly talking about, you know, you're encouraging them do well in school. You'll go to college because you need a good job. That job will help you to provide, you know, that house and lot. And house and lot is cash. They don't go to the bank and ask for a mortgage. Only Westerners do that, right? And so now they have banks giving 20-year mortgages on houses on a tract home over here in Cebu that you or I wouldn't live in any kind of way because you know it's going to fall down in a couple years. Uh-oh, the storm has hit. The storm has hit. How am I going to get to that party today? How am I going to get to the rich people's house to have the big party? Over 15 years, if you think it's in control, you just tried to get me to gamble. Oh, regular guy was on the walking street on Wednesday. You see, what's he doing there? I'm telling you, that's a sign of hard times. What's he doing there? He said he would never return. I'm never going back to Kansas City again. Do you remember that video? And there he is. So he probably already talked about it. I don't watch him anymore, so he probably already talked about it. Um, yeah, and I worry about that too. What if they really are trying to uh, get foreigners out? But they don't want foreigners out. They want them in. The reason why they want because they know it's a quicker transition. You know, if foreigners are here, they will do the job for government. You know, and they will import their Western culture. Go look at the the old Cano. He talks about it. He talks about how things have changed. Really, really, he wants you to know that there are other places to go. He's telling you basically, don't come here. He's trying to say it without saying it, or maybe he did say it, and I just forgot about it because I was doing 10 or 12 different things preparing for this live when I was watching him. But he's sending a clear enough message to me, and that is stay home. You know, the Philippines has happened. That's what Steve and him are trying to tell you. That's what I think they're trying to tell you. I'm not going to put words in their mouth. Go ask them. You're friends with them. You know, go ask them. Has it happened? Is it too late? Folks, there are other places that you can go where it's cheaper to live, and they have beautiful women there too. If that's your game, yeah, I know. Tobias is in the safe zone though. See, Tobias gets here, crystals under the wire, and so I'm happy for Tobias. You know, Philly had a live stream last night. An expat trash showed regular guy trying to buy Filipina, giving her 100 pesos to show her boobs, and then what? And then wanted to take her to a hotel for 400 pesos. He was so busted. Yeah, all that stuff. Listen, I was there. I observed. I kind of know what's going on through observation. Man, Minnie and I, we were hanging out across at Envy's bar, right across from him, all the time. We were there the same time for about a month, right? The same thing, just watching and learning, watching and learning. Trying to see what he's up to. And I saw things. I mean, I saw things. Yeah. So there would be better if power and cables were underground. Yeah, they're moving them. They're starting to move them. And of course, in the Philippines, they don't build them that way. They don't build new cities anymore. If you go into Newtown or you go into different parts of IT Park, everything is underground. It was by design. It was engineered smartly. It was supposed to be a self-contained city. So that area around Ayala, and they did a really good job, in my opinion. There are parts of the Philippines that remind me of Los Angeles. For crying out loud, if you go into BCG or you go into Makati, I could tell you by looking at it who financed it. Bank of America. I mean, because I'm from LA. You go down there, you see the Bonaventure, you see that. I mean, it's not hard to figure out who loaned them the money, where the money came from. Or how they figured out how they were going to do infrastructure or architectural design. They wanted to make them financial destinations for people with money. Many people, foreigners, think the Philippines is their playground. The Philippines are there to service them. That is kind of what I'm getting at, Mike. Here, those are days gone by. And so the point that I'd like to make here is if your intention was to come here and play around, bring your wallet with you, and it better be a fat one, because it don't work here like it did in the olden days. I've been coming here for 20, 22, 25 years. It's not the same, and now the players are coming out and they're telling you this, and people simply don't want to hear it. You get bashed on social media for saying that, right? But there are other countries there are other countries that you could go to where that $1,500 or $1,800 is going to go a lot further than it will here in the Philippines. Oh, you want an example? Malaysia, for example. You know. Okay, Edward. Let me know when you get here if you change your mind that it's not over here yet in the Philippines. Let me know. No, no, of course not. You hear everybody say that if you go in the province, yeah, if you go in the province and your intention is to live and die there, you're fine. A lot of people do that. A lot of people are living on the $600 a month. You know, uh, people stop saying. Thank God, people stopped doing YouTube videos where they're saying, if you want to live in the Philippines and live like a Filipino, you will make it. And they realized that they were making a very racist statement. So thank God they stopped doing that. They stopped doing that. Going to go video chat. Okay, have a good time, Mike. Say hello to her for us. So yeah, they're working on improving the landscape. Let's see, what did Tobias say? I'm behind. I'm sorry. Speaking of expat trash, they're launching a new. I didn't say they were trash. You're putting words in my mouth there, Tobias. They're launching a new channel called Expat Treasure to showcase good foreigners in the Philippines. Everyone here should nominate Dan's channel. I don't know if I'm in that category either, so I'm not sure that I am. It's easy to critique me. It really is. It's very easy to critique me. So anyway, what were the other things? Okay. I know what it was. Let me get through this because it's getting late on in the chat, and I got an appointment. Emmy and I are headed over to the High Red District. All right. Let's see if I can find what I was looking for here. Ah, yeah. So Rich Dan, Poor Dan. All right, where I got this, where I got this article, then I'm going to go through the key points very, very quickly. Oh, my goodness gracious, if I can. Okay, is I want to give you the Western definition of it, how the West looks at de- defining whether you are rich or not, rich and wealthy. So if I can see the article, because I'm getting slammed with spam right now because the phone is picking up what I'm talking about and then it keeps bombarding me with crap. Okay, so what I was going to focus on really here is the definition of rich and wealthy. So what is the difference between being rich and being wealthy? Well, there's a bit more to being rich versus wealthy than how much money you have in your bank account. That's how the article starts off. Number one is net worth. It's possible for someone to make less than a rich person, to actually be wealthier than a rich person with a fancy car and the latest fashion designs. The best measure of a person's wealth is their assets versus debt. So um, I think that that's true. I think that's true. But it's also very dangerous in general to be able to look into a person's wallet to see how much money is in there. That's a bad habit to get into. Is to look into a person's wallet, try to guess by looking at them how much money they're worth. No morning tea and crumpets. Yes, there's going to be crumpets, and I'm going to have to sit. Rich people tend to, number two, expenses. Rich people tend to spend a lot of money, but wealthy individuals save and invest most of their money. Rich people tend to spend a lot of their money, but wealthy people save and invest. Wealthy people might have a lot of money, but they don't spend it all in one go. And so that would be the definition of what's his name, right? Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, who still lives in the house that he bought for $10,000 or $20,000, whatever it was, back in the 1950s. Three is investment. Rich people don't necessarily adjust their lifestyle to ensure future wealth. They might buy the latest gadgets to increase their lifestyle inflation instead of investing. Lifestyle inflation. I know exactly what they're talking about, but I've never used that term before. Right? So I've been saying that. So poor. Someone in here said it might have even been Tobias who said that being rich or poor or middle class is a state of mind. Being wealthy is a state of mind. And I couldn't agree with you more. It's more than just balance sheet, right? It's the way you think. It's the way you make assumptions about the world around you. And I would imagine that if you are putting yourself if you're characterizing yourself as being poor, there's some legitimate reasons why you might be. And that's lack of opportunity, and that would be the number one reason here in the Philippines. It's lack of opportunity, right? Let's see. A joke for you guys. A pig fell in a mud puddle. Get it? No. Cha Ram is here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dang it. Do you hear that storm? I don't know if you could hear it over the computer, but Richie La Chica's here. There's a reason why I drew this, folks. I just want you to think about this, right? There's a reason why I drew this. It was because it's playtime and crayon time. No, it's because I'm gearing up for something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know how this works. I know how it works for me. And that is that the way it works for me is once I draw the picture and I post it with painter's tape on the wall, something happens. something happens, right? It could be it could have been a dollar sign, right? It could have been a dollar sign. Okay. But I'm convinced that this is the great equalizer in the economy, in the global economy, no matter what happens. That is the great equalizer. If you have a roof over your head and the roof doesn't leak, then you have the world right here, right, in the palm of your hands. So that's the point. That's the point. There's a reason why here in the Philippines, but somehow you managed to do it. Somehow you managed to get the land and you managed to build the house. Even if it's a soft materials house, it doesn't matter. That is not what's important. What's important is that you have your place. You know, that you have your place for yourself and your family. That's the most important thing. Dan's going to get a new place in Angeles City. Well, I would say that you're close. I would say that it might be in San Fernando. You know, because I like the capital, um, the capital city a lot. You know, how far is that from Angeles City? That's about an hour. Is that about an hour or 45 minutes from there? Something's going to happen. I'm getting itchy. See, I'm getting itchy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens after we get back from LA. All right, so now let's do Stuff the Pig before we. I got off on a tangent. I didn't really cover everything I wanted to cover. There's going to have to be a part two. The world right now, it's a pig's ass, and everyone knows what comes out of a pig's ass. But we're going to try and take a negative and turn it into a positive, right? By putting a smile on the pig's face. So what we're going to do is we're going to stuff the pig with money. And that last week of November, right before December comes, of course, the first week of December, you're going to guess how much money is in this pig, right? You're going to guess. Where is it? Right here. You're going to guess. And then whoever is closest to the guess is going to win the money that's inside this piggy right before Christmas time. All right. So now I'm putting the money in it, right? Those of you that are always here in the stream will probably have a very good guess as to how much is in here. Because you watch me put it in here. I got coin today. Mammy gave me some coins. She says, put this in the piggy. Ah, the piggy's loving it. I'm feeling the piggy getting heavy. So far, this piggy weighs about half a pound. But there's some bills in here. There's some bills. And so you're going to have to guess how much is in there the last week of November. And I'll make sure it gets to you in the form of Gcash right before we... I had fun today. What can I say? Minnie, we're going to draw. We're going to draw. 200 peso winner today. Let's see if I can find the list. She can't hear me. It's raining like crazy on this metal roof. I'm going to have to go fetch her in a minute. Minnie says hi to you all. I'm sure she's going to say hello. Okay, for your dreamers out there, get over here quick. For the dreamers, I'm telling them they need to get over here quick before their money is all gone. before the lockdown comes. You can open the pig on my birthday. What's your birthday, Tim?
Hi, everybody.
Ma'am Minnie is in the house. There she is. Oh, you look.
That's very rude.
Yeah, I
Irene?
sure do. You
Oh,
promised
my
me. You promised me I wouldn't be getting wet. You said that we're going,
Hi,
and
Anami.
I won't get wet.
Charmin, Sir Tim, Sir Edward, Sir Ron, Sir Larry, everybody.
I got to get my list up here in the phone. I know. I still have not printed it. I still have not printed it. Shame on me. Shame on me. All right, let's pick a winner the first time out, and make sure, even if you know I have your Gcash, make sure you send me a private message so that you make it easy on the old man. Okay?
You can use the printer in there.
Yeah, I know the printer's right here. All right, man, Minnie, we're ready to draw. Shake it up, shake it, baby, shake it. Okay, we have a number. She has drawn. It is number 73. Number 73
Michelle.
is Michelle Ann Peso.
Hello, Minnie.
First shout out call for number 73. Michelle Ann. Shout out. First call. Second call. Number 73 for Michelle Ann.
Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, are you here? Michelle Ann. Third
Hello, Minnie.
call for Michelle Ann. Oh wow, how to get my number, brother? I think you might be in here already, Ramses. If you're not, we'll assign you one for the next draw. But go to my community page and see if the list is up there. The list is current up to 110. And if you're not there, I'm going to add you on my desk list here as number 123. Michelle Ann, fourth call out, number 73. Last and final call out for Michelle Ann. What?
Yeah.
She's here?
Yeah.
Where?
She's waving.
She's waving. Michelle, did you say present? Michelle Ann. We're not particular here, so it looks like we have a winner. Number 73. Michelle Ann has won the money. Michelle Ann, you won 200 pesos. Make sure you send me your GCash number so that we could send that out to you right away. We're going to be on. We're going to be on the. Congratulations. We're going to be on the road soon. Let's see. Michelle Ann, congratulations. Congratulations. Larry, Lee, get us out of this live stream so everybody can get on to watch those YouTube videos and get on to other people's lives. Remember to be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and healthy. Plus, always try to have fun. With that, I thank the 27 million people in the chat. I wish you a good day, good afternoon, good evening, and you all have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day and even better tomorrow. We'll see everybody later.
Bye, guys. Take care.